Hello, people in my Zoom room and people in the Embodiment Unlimited dojo in general. I hope you are taking advantage. Yay! There's one of my friends who I haven't seen in a long time. So excited. Getting the feels. Yeah. Anyway, today we are going to do a dive into ourselves. And I think that today the interest is in actually slowing down, which is not my specialty. I am a speed demon and I tend to really enjoy speediness and fastness, but sometimes I need to slow down. So I want to offer that practice for all of us today, because I think so often that whatever I'm experiencing in life, other people are experiencing similar stuff. And I think I'm going to spotlight myself only so that it doesn't pick you guys up in the video. And I suggest that we then go back to a gallery view. If you need the social centering of like, oh, here we are in a room together, gallery view is great. Only moving gently today. Excellent, Lisa. We are all only moving gently today. So just for anybody who's watching this on the replay or anybody who's in the room, the invitation is really to take this in, anything that we do, any movement, on a level that's going to feel good in your body. So nourishing, nurturing, connecting into self. Let me read the rest of this thing that Lisa wrote. Trapped nerves, slowing down is perfect. Won't be raising my arms. Nearly didn't come. So it's always an invitation to, like, you could lay down in bed and just listen. Like, you can always participate in any way that feels good for you. And we're going to do first a breath practice, and then we're going to take it into some micro movement. And the micro movement can really be micro movement. It can be so small that you can't feel like you're doing it, or it could be small little underlying movement that's under your bigger movement if you need to move bigger today. So hello, Elizabeth. I see that you just joined us. Yeah, if anyone feels like sharing, a lot of you guys have been in rooms together, I'm sure, but if anyone's new to this whole thing, feel free to let us know where you are. Feel free to ask questions in the chat. I will put my glasses on and come in there and read them. So before we start with the breath practice, the coherent breathing practice that we're going to do, let's take a hand on our chest and a hand on our belly. And let's do one of these double sniffs. So it's a big double sniff inhale, and maybe letting out some sound on the exhale. Oh, I'm going to mute you, Fabricio. Otherwise, yeah, we're going to get double breathing, which is kind of exciting because we are double breathing. So yeah, taking a big double sniff in, letting out some sound on your exhale, and double breath in. Iris, welcome. We're just coming into ourselves, coming into our own animal bodies, coming into what it feels like to be in here today. And I was saying in the beginning of this class that I sort of had this revelation today that I need to slow down. I'm going too fast. I'm doing too much. I need to come in. I'm just going to talk for a second about breath practices. So we can upregulate with breath by taking in more than we're exhaling, or breathing, emphasizing our inhale. And we can also downregulate by exhaling for longer. And this is going to balance out our autonomic nervous system. So that's our parasympathetic, which is the rest and digest, soothe and settle, and the fight, flight, freeze, which is the more activated. That's the sympathetic. So when we do coherent breathing, we're going to breathe evenly, our inhale and our exhale. And the idea is that we're actually coming into a balance with that fight, flight, freeze, and rest and digest, so that we're in the middle. We're neither activated nor overly downregulated. So I'm going to offer this, and I'll count us in for a little while, and then I'm going to stop counting and you can just count for yourself. So take a big exhale, and I'm going to do it in sets of 5. So it'll be inhale for 5 counts and exhale for 5 counts. And we'll do it for a little while, and then I'll direct you a little bit more, and we'll see where it goes. We'll come into some micro movement. So exhale everything out. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep on breathing. You can count yourself, and you can close your eyes if it feels good to come more into your own sensation. We'll just do it for a few more minutes. And I'm going to offer this. If it feels good to breathe a little bit less volume, so your inhale doesn't have to be so big, your exhale doesn't have to be so big, you're just making it a little bit lighter. If that feels okay, see if you can lighten up the breath. So we're breathing light and slow and easy. If that feels stressful, don't do it. So just keep on going with that. You might want to slow it down to a 4, or sorry, slow it down to a 6, or take it to a 4. So 4 count or a 6 count, whatever feels good to you, but staying in a rhythm that works for you and seeing if you can just take in a little bit less oxygen, exhale a little bit less. So we're sort of staying in a softer space. I want to say almost like we're coming into a sort of smaller space. And I don't mean that in a bad way. We're not shrinking. We're just coming into like a quieter space. So breathing with that for a couple more minutes. Maybe you can start to feel your heartbeat. As you're coming into yourself in this deeper way, start to feel the sensation of gravity in your body. So feeling the weightedness of your bones, feeling your feet connected to the floor, feeling your butt in the chair, whatever position you're in, letting yourself settle into it. You could think of letting the glass of water just drop so that the water is just dropping down. Whatever bits are in there are having a chance to just filter down. So any kind of stuff that's going on for you just can kind of come down. Doesn't have to be rising, but can be sort of dropping down and in. Now that we're in that inner place, just checking in with how you feel. I feel lighter and a little more quiet and a little slower. So I'm going to offer that we're going to start with this very small movement of the head. It can be just from side to side. You can allow the room to come into your vision, or you can keep your eyes closed. But just letting yourself feel your head on top of your body, Doesn't have to be a huge turn from side to side. You can even stay in one area and track there a little bit more if that feels interesting. But just feeling this connection of your head on your body. So through your neck, feeling this connection and this relationship from your head down through your neck to your tail. And as you're feeling that relationship, tuning into that internal space, allowing the space around you to just come into your vision where there's nothing to do. You're just receiving whatever you see or feel. So if your eyes are closed, which is totally fine, you're coming into feeling into whatever is coming in your body, whatever you're noticing. Easy and relaxed, very gentle. So as I do this, I start to really come into my back space. I start to become aware of the back of my body, and I allow myself to kind of, the front body starts to move a little towards the back body. My eyes can soften into my head a little bit. And I can really feel the sort of roundness of the back of my cranium. I can come into that space in the back of my head. Then we're going to start to make that movement smaller. And you can close your eyes for this if that feels comfortable. What I want to do is just start to make that movement smaller and smaller until it's almost like you're not moving. So it really is coming into the most micro movement. Just enough movement to feel that there's movement. And notice if any desires come on, like maybe your body wants to go in some other pattern. If that happens and you want to let it, then let it happen. So if things come up and it's interesting and curious and you want to explore there, then feel free to launch into that exploration. Go on that journey. So for me, as I'm coming in, I feel like this returning to self. I feel like I'm calling in all the parts of myself that I've been spreading out through the world, through the internet, and I'm just drawing them back in to like nurture and nourish within my own system, within my own experience. And even as I'm connecting to you, I'm letting this come into me. And I'm starting to let it go bigger again. So listening into your own body, if the desire is to do some totally different exploration, go for it. So we just started with that sort of horizontal plane panning. And now let's invite in different possibility, like the possibility of maybe just spinal movement forward, backward, or side, side, or bringing the hands online. So for me, once I get into these explorations, my hands usually want to get involved too. But I still want to keep it today for me, just on the slower, gentler side. This may change and I may start to expand out, but for right now, I'm really imagining all the threads of my being coming back towards center. So if I was a star and my capacity was to just radiate out in all directions, radiating light, I'm calling that light back in to my system, back into me. It could be this sense of just expanding and then coming back in to feel what it feels like. What does it feel like to go out? What does it feel like to come in? Or maybe I don't even need to move and I can just call myself back in. I'm going to move a little bit more for you guys so that you can get this idea. So we can imagine in a way that we're just sort of growing and shrinking in this cosmic sort of way, in this breath way. We can imagine that we're breathing in our cells. So deep cellular breathing supporting us, this underlying breath support and core support, which don't involve us inhibiting anything. We're just allowing, we're inviting in, we're opening up. And we're inviting ourselves back into ourselves. all the parts that might have been concerned with doing this or doing that, I can bring them back in. All I need to do right now is be here in my body, in my experience, feeling into that. And I think we're going to play with the elements a little bit. So a lot of the embodiment unlimited work, it does a lot of stuff with the elements, and I find them really, really helpful to express in different ways. So let's actually start. This is kind of an interesting way, and there are systems that have more than 4 elements, but I'm just going to work with 4, and I'm going to stick 2 together. So I'm going to invite in the element of air, and with it, I'm going to connect space so that the air is filling through the space, and I'm going to breathe into that. We did our coherent breathing in the beginning, so we already started in that pattern of breath and air. And I'm just going to imagine that all the space around me is supporting me and holding me. And as I move, it's like I'm getting this nice, beautiful relationship and massage from the space around me. So spaciousness and air, and maybe like this is going to be legs getting involved, or maybe you want to lay on the floor to do this, or maybe you want to stand up, whatever feels interesting to you. Coming into this sense of air and lightness. When we breathe in, we went with that sort of lighter breathing. Can we be in that space where it's just like almost like we're floating? And we also did that panning of the horizon. So working through the horizontal, seeing what was around us. If we take our eyes up a little bit, maybe it's going to be easier to find that airy quality. It doesn't have to be our hands going over our head. And I want to invite you to experience movement. So if you feel like, oh, I'm in this pattern and I've gotten to this pattern, it feels really good, shift it. Change anything. Change the spatial dimensions that you're working within. Change the speed. Change anything so that instead of tuning into a pattern and repeating it, we start to go into new places. And if you feel like you know where your body's going to go somewhere else. So it's like you're listening in, you're offering this potential to be very different. And with that idea, let's move into the water in our body. And imagining that we are this big fluid system, we are bodies of water. And we have this freedom to move with that fluidity. As we move, we're hydrating fascia, we're hydrating tissue. The cells and the lymphatic system, the extracellular matrix are having this beautiful dance. And let's just imagine that it's really moving towards our health so that if there's any kind of stuckness in there, we're inviting it to flush through. We're inviting the fluid in our body to sort of clear and detox whatever we need to clear up. So these are both detoxifiers. Like we detox through breath. We also detox through fluids, like we detox through the lymphatic fluid, blood moving through our body, bringing nourishment, taking away waste. So we're inviting that participation in whatever way feels good. Yeah, and actually I see some self-touch happening there. So let's bring that in and online, because that feels like, here I am in this body of water, this human body of water, this human animal body of water. And I'm inviting in movement, maybe moving through the air and the water. And here we are as a group moving together. So even in that, we're affecting the field, the energetic field. And even if you're watching it on the playback, still, like, time is a construct. So who knows what that all means? And so let's take it into the earth element now. So we're really going to tune into our bones. Again, bones are sort of the densest material in our bodies so we can really find ground through the bones, finding our weightedness, finding our density. Not that we're going to take away any kind of flow that we have going on. We can stick with our flow, but we want to just tune into this gravitas. We talk about our center of gravity in the Laban work. We talk about our center of gravity down here, our center of levity up here. So we've kind of been in the levity. Let's bring it down into the gravity. And again, it's like we're pulling those strands into ourselves, or maybe the strands are more like ropes and anchors. We're bringing into ourself like that sense of weightedness, sense of gravity. And it's great if we can use these ideas with sort of non-judgmental attitude towards our bodies, like friendliness towards our bodies, gentleness towards our bodies. Yeah, coming into that sense of groundedness, which maybe has like a down quality to it. Like I'm feeling my connection to the earth, feeling my connection to the planet. And I think I'm actually going to stand for this. And this might be kind of a weird way of finding ground, but I'm going to kind of bounce into. So every time I'm going down, I'm feeling that connection down into gravity. I'm feeling my body. Easy and relaxed. And I'm also giving it this little bit of movement. Feeling how my feet are connecting to the floor. Maybe it's your butt on the chair. And if you're lucky and you have a physio ball, you could bounce around on your physio ball. I have one somewhere, but not in here. Letting out some sound, maybe some low sound, so we can feel the density and the groundedness, right? My low sounds in my body are going to feel very different than my high sounds in my body. Low sounds taking me down. And as I take my voice lower like that, my movement has wanted to slow down. So I'm just going to shift into something slower with my movement. Again, really connecting down to the earth, energy of the earth. Planting myself. For some people, this grounded, organized, like earthy nature is really easy and comfortable. For me, I really have to think about it and take it in. It's not my natural go-to place. Slowing into the ground. Coming into ourselves. And again, we can touch. Here I am. This is me. Physical manifestation of me on the planet right here. And when I touch, it's like I'm reaffirming. I can do it with more strength if I want to find more ground, if I want to tune into those bones, or I could go lighter if that feels good today. So whatever's working for you. Finding ground, connecting to self, taking it down. Yeah, when I've gotten very amped up, I need to take it down a notch. I'm going to need to slow myself. And I'm just learning how to do this. Every day, it's a learning process of how to be a person. How is it going to work today? What does this body and this mind need today? So there I am in my earthiness. I'm going to bring in the element of fire. And I'm just going to think of just finding the heat of your body for that element, like the warmth of being a person. That's that fire element. And fire can be very direct. It can be very passionate, very strong. Yeah. How does your fire, how does your warmth, how does your humanness express in your body? It can also burn away stuff you don't need to hold on to. Burn away the detritus, burn away whatever you can let go of. Let that fire come in. Maybe burning away the stuff that you can't hold on to or process. So I have been lighting candles when I feel like there's stuff going on that's too big for me. Light a candle. Let that stuff burn in the fire. Let the fire hold that stuff. Oh my goodness. I just have to show you this little addition to my room right now. It's a little cat, and in his mouth, he has brought his toys. Yeah, he just found some ground there sitting on his butt, right? So yeah, this is a little catto bringing in the biggest toy. He got it in his mouth and carried the whole thing in with these two balls. So play, right? That's very airy. That's very air element, playing. And then the other thing is like, oh, what's happening right now? What moment is happening right now? Can I be with this particular moment? Very entertaining, very distracting. Can I be with myself and be in that at the same time? Right? Those are the little gifts. Like sometimes we think, oh no, the cats, I gotta shut them out. I gotta shut them out. But no, it's like, no, just gotta interact with it a little. It's a little animal body. What's going on in that little animal body? As it relates to mine, my animal body. Oh my goodness, we're coming to the end of this time together. Holy moly, that just like raced by. So let's come in together and just have a sharing and caring moment. Feel free to write anything in the chat and unmute if you want to. I'm going to put into, oops, is that it? Did I put them all in there? I'm doing okay, so I just threw into the chat my Patreon. You can support me at a very low level, which would be helpful if I had enough people. There's my PayPal. There's also my website. And I also put my Zoom room in there because right after this, and some of you were there last week, I'm doing a Dances for Peace somatic dance party, which you are all welcome to join in. And that is free because I feel like we need the outlet and the expression, and it's so much more fun to have more people in there. So you're welcome to join. Oh, what is it? What did they say in the Qigong Summit about cats, Lisa? Go ahead and unmute and just share it with the group. Okay, I'm going to stop recording.